Great. Paul, mate, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, really excited to have you here. Joined today with Louis Pearsons. We're back again in the co-host chair.
Good to be back.
Appreciate
good to
it.
be back.
Producer Rosca, as always, in the producer booth. Still haven't got a camera for Rosca, so he's just going to be the anonymous voice in the background.
If we can
Does
get
anyone
to
know what he
1,000
looks like?
subscribers.
Rosca
I've
doesn't
been
exist. He's an AI bot, actually.
People probably have an image in their mind of what he looks like, and he probably
I
looks
had that
completely different.
with Greg James.
Pete Snodden was mine.
Yes, no, even Pete Snodden's face doesn't match his voice.
No, it doesn't.
And look, I'm not about to offend, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but his face didn't quite match up to his voice.
It never does, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember listening to this really alt rock Christian worship band called Casting Crowns when I was growing up.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought they were like the Linkin Park of the church. They were the coolest thing, mate. I remember the day. My life's never been the same. Where I saw them on YouTube and I was like, these whack ass people. They looked so lame. I was like, no.
It's kind of like whenever you listen to Nickelback and then you see Nickelback.
yeah.
You're like, you wrote for all the wrong reasons. You wrote that song.
Paul,
Yeah.
Louis and I were chatting before you came in about moments that define us, right? So I was chatting to someone on the podcast yesterday. Roscoe was there. We were doing a series with Harp. Her name's Bernadette Haggins, and she got her leg chopped off. And talk about an opportunity to ask ignorant questions to an amputee, and for her that was like a massive moment. She was about 22, saying to Louis, for me, a lot of my background comes with mental health, so it's like suicide survivor, family trauma, all this sort of stuff, and that's kind of shaped me, and I would say even driven me into who I am and what I do today. One of my big life mottos is be who you needed when you were younger, and I love that. What about you, Louis? What's the defining moment for you?
I think either, and this sounds really silly because it wasn't actually that hard in theory, but finishing uni or selling my first business.
Mate, that was a hybrid. I remember you in that season. That was
And that
blood coming out the sweat.
literally, and but that for me, it was just the only reason it was defining is because it was like, right, can I do this? Can I start something? Literally something from nothing, and then that something be valuable enough.
Yeah, and I want to start here because like on paper, this is incredible, right? So you've worked with Tommy Fury, Floyd Mayweather, you've met the Tate brothers, the Sidemen, KSI, Jake Paul. You run a massively successful business. You've traveled through 38 different countries, living in 5 of them. You can do all this mad stuff. You're making a lot of money. You've built a great team. You've got awesome processes on Asana.
Master scuba diver.
Master scuba diver?
No, not master. Search and rescue. Master would be next.
Sorry.
And he's
sorry.
humble. Yo!
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would have ran with that.
But I think we've been doing this long enough to know that behind the shine, there is a shadow. Mm-hmm. And so what are some of the moments that has kind of pushed you on to where you are today?
Okay, good question. I suppose it's teed up perfectly for the sort of the core moment in my life. I was on a path already, and I was in a bad accident. I can spare you the gory details, but it wasn't good. It wasn't looking good. I was in a coma for 3 days. Messed up face, hips, back, legs broke. And that was one of those ones where you wake up and you're like, shit, we're fragile.
Mm.
Life's short, and I really have to do something with my time. So that kind of kicked me up a gear, definitely. Now, I'm not saying, I don't think if that hadn't happened, I still believe I would have continued to do the things that I wanted to do and the things I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I definitely got more urgency.
What age were you when that happened?
Oh, I was 20.
What?
How did I not remember? 25. 2015. Mm-hmm. No, sorry, that's such a lie. I was 22.
Yeah.
Gee.
7 years ago? Because you're
7 years
29,
ago.
aren't you?
Yeah.
Mad. What are you, 94? Born 94?
Born in 93, so I'm
93?
about to turn 30.
What a
so
hero.
That comes with its flipping
I love that.
fears as well.
I'm 28, 95. What are you?
20 and 94.
What are you, Roscoe?
2004.
Come on, my guy in the corner. We were interviewing these 2 80-year-old filmmakers on Monday, and they were like, yeah, we were born in 1944, and all of us in the room just went, we felt like taking our shoes off because we were standing on holy ground. It's like, these guys have lived their life.
Yeah.
So you said you were already on the path.
Yeah, well,
Talk to me more. Just go ahead.
Well, when I say I was already on the path, I was already in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
to give you the quick sort of background and some context, like I was the sweet seller kid at school.
Yeah.
But, you know, there was a lot of those guys, but I was quick to realize that the margins in sweets are small, and I don't have the energy drink market tied down, which is where you're at least getting 50p margin. I was doing like Mawams, Wham bars, that sort of stuff, so really small margins. So what I did was I started, you know, whenever the iPod Touch came out?
Oh, yeah.
I love a story.
Did you jailbreak your iPod?
No, I basically downloaded all the music.
Right.
And people would give me their iPods, and I would fill them up full of tunes.
Yo.
So, you know, 8 gigabyte iPod was a $5, 16 a $10.
Bro, he had price list.
Had a price list, but that's 100% margins. And then pretty much everyone in my school was coming to me to get the music, and then the teachers started giving me their phones and their iPods. So I was putting like ABBA, Fleetwood Mac, and all their
on the
devices. The teachers had us. We're all part of it. So that's why I started like racking up notes. You know, forget all that change. And I think that's like everyone has a sweet seller story. That's my version of it. And then after school, uni was never on the cards for me. I went to 6th year to play rugby. But I just knew deep down inside that I wasn't going to go through that system, and just I was very pushed towards it. Like my teacher challenged me in front of all my classmates, like, why are you not going to uni? You know, I want to do a business. Well, why are you in school? You're wasting your time. No, I'm in school because I'm doing my A-levels and I'm playing rugby and I have friends. And whenever she challenged me, I was like, you know, there's something wrong here with this system. And I basically started my next chapter, which was the travel. So we can pick apart any of that, or I can just get straight into the travel.
I'm just going to jump in and say, I know this is how I know I'm dealing with a different breed, because I also was a sweet seller. But the way my brain went was, do you know what? It's all about donuts. I can make an extra £8 a week if I do donuts. Whereas you immediately went to digital product, 100% margin. Let's scale it up. Let's get those notes in. While I'm like playing with the £2 coins.
Totally illegal, but we didn't know that then.
Can I also just jump in here, Louis? Can you please move more to your right?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, mate, you're getting directed here. Roscoe wants to be a director. This is how he's getting his experience.
I'm so okay with it, though.
I love it. Humble.
Yeah,
Love
he's owning it.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
that's an interesting moment with the teacher. Because those
I
conversations.
remember too, Miss Watt, I'm calling you out. Like, I feel like I got asked to go back to the school and speak, because since then we've had 4 people out of Grosvenor, and you know, a couple of them are on salaries that are greater than the teachers that taught them.
Sure.
So I would like to go back, but I just think my message isn't in line with the school.
There's something that I picked up on, and it's funny, like, because in all of this, you know, what PK is talking about now is the exact reason as to why I was attracted. So it was like, you know, is that real recognizing real, or at least they're just being this like complete alignment between the path you were on that I was on. I think that's what brought us together. But in hearing you talk about that, and all I hear is that natural resistance that most entrepreneurs, if not all, have, and it's innately in them. And like I would dare say, like when you're 18 or 17, sitting talking to this adult about your future, you can't explain why you're like, I disagree with you. Like obviously you don't have the wisdom of an older person, you know, you haven't lived, you don't have that experience, but where do you think that like just sheer resistance came from? Because it's obviously in you somewhere, it's innately in you, it's either come through trauma, come through conditioning. That's definitely something that I want to unbox and figure that out, if that makes sense.
I mean, I always remember that whenever, you know, you blow out your candles on a birthday cake or like you make a wish, I always wished for some reason for a red Ferrari, right? Like even to this day, if I could afford a red Ferrari, I probably wouldn't buy one. I'd buy something else. But that was like my earliest memories of wanting, let's say, wealth, but not really understanding it. And then that was there from a young age. I suppose like my dad is also a big part of this. Like he was very early to like he would be the sort of guy who buys all the books and like making money, and they were kind of just floating around the house and like The Secret and that. Yeah. And I got into all that really early, from when I was like 16.
Yeah.
But
early adopter.
I was an early adopter, but again I was lucky there. But I also say this, like, okay, those resources are sitting around for everyone now on the internet, but who's actually taking it and applying it? Whereas I was like, oh yeah, there's a real opportunity here for me to do like affiliate marketing or sell shit online and travel. Because as we'll get into with the travel, like my original plan, all I wanted to do in my life was ski all winter and scuba dive all summer. That was it. That was me happy because I was watching, you know, all those action sports videos, and that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to do backflips on my skis. I wanted to live the ski bum life and go party and do ski shots and then go to the warm country and scuba dive and then have a beer. Like that was my idea of the dream life that I was going to try and build. And, you know, obviously different things happen, but the concept was still there of freedom. I want to do, you can choose anything at all. So pick something that you really like. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put all my energy into doing these interesting things rather than going to uni to study something that I'm not too sure I want to do a job that I definitely don't want to do, just because that's the way it's like set up for you. That's like that's the path of least resistance.
Yeah, and like because you are that entrepreneurial by default, I would even say by like genetics. I do believe like we're all born with different personality types. You naturally are questioning, you're naturally pushing up against stuff. It's funny when you were talking about not wanting to go back to school because you feel like your message just wouldn't even sync up with them. There's an interview I'd love for you to listen to of ours. It's about 3 weeks old. He's a guy called John Kelly, right? Used to be a doctor and then started homeschooling his kid. His wife died and he got all into education and he's obsessed with the brain. And he's the only person in the world who's ever studied if the brains of entrepreneurs are different to other people.
Nice.
And the answer is yes.
100%.
And he talks a lot about left brain, right brain.
Yeah.
And you, actually all of us in this room are right-brained people.
Creative, like.
But the school system and the education system,
it's for left brains.
It's for left brains.
Yep.
And so the people that work in these left brain institutions also are left brain orientated. And very interestingly, there's a study came out in America recently. This is going to blow your mind. Maybe you already know this. That something like 90% of teachers in America are left leaning politically. So there's just like all this, like this, the whole system is just like left, 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 left. And we need left. You know, if it was a world of right brains, it would probably look like Mad Max.
So nothing would ever get done. You know, a new project would be started every day.
It would be carnage. And you need like civil service, that's a left brain organization.
Yeah.
And NI Water, that's a left brain organization. You need these things to hold society together. But you wouldn't fit in that system because that system is not made for you.
Yeah, it hurts my soul to even hear that. Like imagine I could never be sat behind a desk doing something that's like pushed towards me to do. I sit behind the desk every day, but it's my desk that I bought and my chair that I chose.
Yeah,
doing a project that I assign myself. But if you're like trying to tell me, like for an example, I have a bit of work to do right now, and it's not a long piece of work, but it's taken me 2 weeks to even get halfway through it because someone's assigned it to me. It's for like a grant we're trying to get, and I'm just like, what is this? It's so like, it's like Parkinson's law or whatever. It's like the time that you assign is how long it'll take.
Exactly.
But I had 2 weeks. It's going to take me 2 weeks.
Work will always fill up the amount of time you give it.
And that's just, but if it's a project that I've assigned myself, I'm like on it. I can't even finish it before I start the next one. I'm like, all this shit is class.
Yeah. Okay, well, can I make some guesses, right? Okay. About books you've read based on what you've said. Have you read The 4-Hour Workweek?
Yes.
Right. That's where I first learned about Parkinson's law. Have you read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill?
My favorite book.
When did you first read it?
I first read it properly
16?
When I was actually traveling Australia. That's when I got really into books because I had so much travel time. Downloaded them all on my iPad and read it then. And I've read it probably 6 or 7 times. I've listened to it as well. Used to listen to it going to sleep. Great book. This is a fun game, by the way.
Okay.
Go again. See if you get 3 for 3.
Have you had The Chimp Paradox?
Yeah.
Yo, come on.
Stephen Peters, like.
3.
Yeah.
Love that.
Real recognizes real, baby.
The E-Myth.
Yeah, revisited. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
He was the first person that ever, like, whenever he talks about building a business like McDonald's and having everything with a process and system, I think I read it the week I was reading it, and maybe say read that chapter on a Tuesday. I was like, is that a load of nonsense? How on earth can I turn a podcast business into McDonald's? And then literally the next day, I remember like almost wetting myself whenever I actually understood what he was saying.
Yeah. It's like you're the doer, like okay, we have a creative agency. I used to be the videographer. Then I became like the manager of the videographers. Now I'm the entrepreneur guiding the vision, and we have managers in place.
Yeah.
I got a lot of that came from the E-Myth.
It's cool. And then even just to kind of put a pin in all that, like right brain people like you are the ones that go out and makes jobs.
Yeah.
So we need you, and I'm glad you exist.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
I'm glad Invest and I exist because I'm trying to get them to help us create more jobs as well. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
let's see.
yeah.
That's that piece of work that's got to be done. Like.
Oh, is that the grant? Yeah. That's so great. So you start traveling. Why did you want to leave Northern Ireland?
Just from like the videos that I used to watch, the content I used to consume, it was all like skiing, diving, all that stuff I loved. And I didn't think you could do it here. I know you can dive here, but I'm what we call a paradise diver. Has to be like 25-degree water. Has to be like 28 degrees outside. When I pop up, I have to be within an arm or two's reach of a nice cold beer. That's how I like to scuba dive. Whereas a lot of people will like put on a dry suit and go to Rathlin Island. You're not gonna catch me in Rathlin Island. Like, you know what I mean?
Love that.
So travel, and it was just the curiosity of the cultures, and it also became. So my first stop, as soon as I got out of school, I went to Canada, and again, like I like to reverse it. I think you'll see something here. Like I like to reverse engineer things and like leverage opportunities. So, what was my goal? I want to ski and I want to scuba dive. Okay, guess what? I just came out of school. I don't have any money. How do I ski when it's so expensive? So I became a ski instructor. So I got paid to ski on a daily basis. And it was just enough money to live and party. And that was it. 6 months in Banff in Canada. And that just set the whole ball rolling. Met a bunch of Aussies. I was like, oh, Australia looks fun. I'll go over there. Did a whole year there. You know, Australia basically formed who I was. I did sales. Threw myself right in the deep end. I ran out of money after 12 days of being in Australia. I didn't actually know it was so expensive. I didn't really have much saved.
Yeah, it's like 15 quid for a Subway. I remember someone
know,
telling me
it's
that, and I was like, "Are you for real?" It's like
crazy
£2 in Northern Ireland.
expensive. What? So I was like, right, how can we
Could
earn
I
some money
interrupt
here?
here again?
Yeah.
Louis, can you please move the mic a little bit further down and move more to the side there?
Yeah.
We own
in the
that.
background.
We're still adding changes to this system.
That's cool.
See this
Louis-
microphone stand here? It's getting in Paul's camera shot. That's why we're.
That
We're
alright?
trying to reserve the spotlight for Paul here. If you
I mean, we're
Yes,
still
Louis,
building our
so okay.
systems.
Stop interrupting
Continuous
me.
improvement.
Come on, Louis.
This is Louis' first podcast. Like,
Big
getting in
linguini.
front of everyone.
I actually have a really interesting question while we're on this topic.
Which
Do your
topic?
thing.
We're flying around.
You know, the traveling and all
Oh,
that,
yeah, yeah.
you know, because it's such an integral part of who you are and what you're passionate about. But, you know, in knowing you and having listened to some of your stories, like one of my funnest stories is picturing you at 9 years old with your, you know, big, bulky video camera in the garage. But my question is, like, it's the chicken or the egg kind of question, is like, what came first? Like, the need and desire and want to go out to do all this traveling, or was it I want to go out and capture these amazing moments as a content creator? Well, let's put that label on it, but really, you know, you're not a content, you're just wanting to capture these moments is what it is at its essence. So like, what came first?
It's the same thing. Like those again, to my dad, always loved having the latest and greatest tech about.
Yeah.
He had a fat camcorder, and those guys, like, they just used it for, okay, holidays, Christmases. But it's sitting there every other day of the year. So I'm just like, well, here, that looks fun. I'm grabbing that. We're like 9 years old. We're skateboarding and making little mini skate movies, doing all that stuff, like recording over our holidays and ruining the childhood
Recording
memories.
over the birth video.
Hi,
this is
Paul
stuff.
about to do a kickflip.
It's fresh out the womb. Like.
I see that.
Yo, look at this sweet Ollie!
Honestly, I do have some of those clips because, like, if I ever make, let's say, a documentary or something, we've got all that. Do you know what I mean? It's all
Yeah.
there. It's like me introducing our little skate videos.
Dude, this guy's like Kanye. This guy's
Bro.
like collecting the archive because he knows it's going to be used someday.
Like, if you've ever heard a 9-year-old kid from Hollywood saying gnarly, well then, like, that's a big thing.
Not from Hollywood, but yeah.
Where are you from? Where's born and bred?
Monterey is where I'm born and bred.
Love it, mate.
And then that's like in the country, so you're messing around, you're beating up trees and cars,
Yeah.
and then you're like right in the city, so you can.
Yeah.
when you get a wee bit older, you can drink quarter bottles when you're 14. Orangefield Park.
But right, so there's something really, right, at a young age that said, I want to go somewhere that's not here. Right.
But I love here, so I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, like, because that's where my brain goes. I'm like, why would you want to go and leave? And like, because you don't strike me as like this family person, even though I know, you know, you're very close to your family. But like, what was like this, like, just because I didn't really have any grandiose ideas of travel until like it became like a thing that like it became viable. Like I had the money to do it. It was never something. At 18, I was like, I need to go to Australia with my friends. Yeah. Not like you.
I can relate to you because as soon as I finished my A-level, I was straight on a flight and I was gone. So I'd never come back. And now I'm back and I love here and I live here.
I mean, I didn't even have friends that did it before me. So I had no one. I wasn't able to follow anyone's path. Yeah. But I just wanted to do it. The closest thing I had to someone doing something like that was my sister went to Magaluf and did a season. And I did one too. And it was great.
Yeah.
But like, there was so much more. And in that trip, every single thing you do, actually, this just rings a bell. Like, I went to South Africa with rugby, with school, and I saw townships, and I saw different cultures, and my eyes were opened. I was like, oh, we have lived sheltered lives. There's something. There's so much more going on. Even the rugby culture, we were hosted by the players, and around dinner, the dad was telling us all the stories about the racism that was in South Africa, and it was terrifying. But like, it was real for them, and we had never seen anything like that where we are. Obviously, we had our troubles, but I didn't grow up through that.
That's
you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
I just heard the stories, but now I was seeing it in South Africa. We did a lot around there, like 3 weeks traveling top to bottom, and you know that definitely set me off. I was like, I need to go somewhere else: Canada, Australia, China. Wherever.
It's almost like an attraction to the unknown.
Yeah.
But like, you know, intrinsically, that's a very strange thing to be so comfortable with. You know, you have this like unbelievable ability to deal with uncertainty. Because look at your life. You went to Australia with like just under £1,000.
Something like that.
And like,
but that's
you're like, sweet.
That's ignorance.
Yeah, and so like, do you think like that, you know, because you're very good at mitigating that risk or like being okay with like, I don't know how this is going to end up, but I know I'll be fine, right? Where does that come from? Where does it stem from? Is it ignorance, or is it, I know I'm a legend, so I'll be fine? You know, what is it?
I don't know if I'm a legend, but I definitely know that everything is hard, no matter what you do. But it's just like, choose your hard. Like, what am I going to be putting my effort and time in? Am I going to be putting my effort and time in to sit in some job in Belfast that, you know, I just had to get? Or am I going to put my effort and time in the same time that everyone else has in Australia, grafting for that, you know, that dollar that I need to live? So I was like, it'll be fine. Like, I will be able to do it over there. The only thing I'm lacking there that I have here is a little bit of a network, but you get that very quickly as well. So it's a little bit less safe, but it's in my mind, it's the same thing.
Risk. Everything's risk.
Yeah.
Every direction you turn.
Like, people come out of school here and end up, you know,
here for 60 years.
Trapped, or, you know, even in bad positions. So
you can go and study something like engineering and get stuck in a job that you hate, and it's very hard to actually maneuver out of that. Yeah. And you've done the safe road that the system told you to do.
Yeah, and I say, because I'm also lucky I get to mentor some younger guys, and I do say this, like, if you don't know for sure what you want to do, which you probably don't, go traveling, because you'll figure more out about your life. You'll understand who you are. You'll get some real challenge. You'll grow as a person. You'll network. And then I also encourage them, if you are traveling, put yourself into a sales role. So my role, especially in Australia, was sales commission only. No base, no salary.
Money where your mouth is, baby.
Commission.
Yeah.
19-year-old little boy, like, out of his depth. But that's what forced me. I knocked all the doors, right? I got all the no's before I got my yeses. So I had the rejection. So that was never I was young enough to take it on the chin.
Yeah.
And then the difficulty, when we did have difficult times, and we did, like me, Reese and Max, we lived in a car for 3 days.
Who are these people?
The guys I travel with.
Nice.
They were like, and we were fighting over who got the front seat with the steering wheel. You didn't want that seat because you had less room.
Yeah.
And like, we were waiting for our commission checks to come through before we could check in the hotel.
Literally.
You know what I mean? And that car, that was low-key stolen. We had that car on a farm. The farm, this is a really long story, but I'll cut it super short. You've probably heard about the Australian farms. It's like prison camp.
Yep.
It's really bad. We were picking melons all day in the hot sun, bending over, flicking the wee thing off the watermelon, putting it on a tractor. And the only way we were like staying happy was singing songs. And then they stopped us singing. Not allowed to sing. Just walk. And we went, this is enough. Reese especially.
Communist China over here.
I know.
Literally was. And he goes, this is enough. Said to our supervisor, we're getting the fuck out of here. Everyone's like, yeah, fuck that. We're all getting out of here. And he bought the supervisor's car. He's like, half up front, half when we get the next payment. Yeah, no bother. Went into the hostel, took all the pillows, all the light blankets, raided the fridge. 3 of us piled in and just drove to the next city, which ended up being Brisbane. We had no money, so that's where we got stuck for a while. And that's where we did the commission sales. And that's how we got out of that. Because it was like back against the wall, need a commission check.
Mm-hmm.
I was selling solar then a couple other jobs.
What I like about that is it goes in the face of, because a lot of people that hear, I'll go traveling when you're young. Like, you didn't come for money. Your parents weren't paying your way to go and do a nice little gap year around the world.
Definitely did get a bailout though. Can't say I didn't. Got a bailout again in Australia. Had to get that 500 quid top up because I had nothing. Like, do you know what I mean?
I respect that, but
And
500
it's paid
quid's
back
500
now,
quid.
You know.
There's people who are like, daddy gives them 20 grand to go and find themselves in India.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think that's a Tate line. Sorry, I think I accidentally just used a Tate line.
You're obsessed with it.
Bro, you're not far off.
Attraction to the Unknown, by the way, is the title of your book.
Attraction to the Unknown.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
nice.
Man, I've been looking for a title of my book for
That was
ages.
spicy. What were you going to say, Roscoe?
Paul, could you just move back a little bit, please? Just because you're slightly in the camera frame there for that one.
I love this, Roscoe. The
Just,
Iron Fist.
And
Speaking
slowly
of communist
move, and can
China.
you just move the mic as well a little bit, like down?
Can you behave?
Better
Can you
posture now.
behave?
Actually.
Yeah, can you actually take care of your back while you're at it as well?
Good posture.
Was there ever a moment in the travels where, what's the best way to describe this?
What's it?
You realize that going to all these different countries is not going to radically change who you are, and you can still have really bad days in Australia. Because I had this mentality, if I leave Northern Ireland, everything in my life is going to be better. And then you're sitting in the greatest city in the world, New York, and you're like, man, this is really, really tough. And I realized that actually Northern Ireland wasn't the issue. There's issues in my life I have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of alone time when you travel. A lot of trains, a lot of buses, a lot of planes, and a lot of reflection. And again, I didn't have a smartphone then. No one really did. This was 2012, 13, 14, early 15. And I was just using my iPad and the books that I downloaded. And I was just learning a lot about, Wall Street Waddle, Science of Getting Rich, Think and Grow Rich, the master key system. This is the shit I was consuming. And I was like, okay, I'm fully able to evolve here. I was just consuming as much of that stuff as I possibly could because I didn't exactly think that these countries aren't the answer, but I was like, I'm very well aware that I could do anything if I just, got all that knowledge. So I wasn't thinking it's Northern Ireland's the problem and getting away from it. It's more like I can learn more stuff and do anything, whether it's Australia, whether it's go back and build a business in Belfast or, backpack down China. Well, it doesn't matter. Do you see what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess a follow-up to that then is so let's say that you started this journey with a capital J and air quotes around it at 18 when you left school and you go traveling. How many years or how old were you until you actually started to make money? And what I mean by that is you make a salary. I'm just going to pull something out of there. You make 50 grand a year that you could provide for yourself and a family on. How many years did it take you to hit that point?
Well,
sorry, I'm going to do a redo of that, right? At what point did the prickly stress, heat on the back of your neck about money disappear?
I mean, honestly, never disappears because with my business, our team gets paid first.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone gets paid and then I get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always those stresses. And I don't know, I mentioned this briefly before for the first time, but openly, I'm not having that conversation with people. It's building a business, everyone's just looking at me with their hands out, like, giving me my check every month,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's your mortgage, there's your vet bills, you know, there's your renovation. Okay, what am I going to take? But I'm not taking much out of that business because I'm reinvesting that back into the business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, we're fine. We're obviously fine. If shit hits the fan, I'll pull some dividends and we'll be all right.
Yeah.
But, like, the stresses is definitely still there. I don't feel like we're at a point where we're completely stress-free. I don't think I'll ever be at that point, and maybe that's what keeps us going.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm never, like, foot off the gas, relax mode.
It's a really nice perspective to hear, because I think that's not a perspective people hear a lot.
Yeah, I was expecting, or well, like for me, I've heard that question be answered, you know, the very wanky YouTube star way, if that makes sense. But it's so interesting to hear you, like, because I know, like, how ambitious and driven you are and you want success, but it is refreshing to hear, like, you know, the way that you've set up your company and your business is that, like, the leader will eat last. You know, a true leader anyway. It's like your money could go in your back pocket. That could be, you know, putting in stuff into your new flat and all this stuff, but, like,
getting that ISA topped up, bro.
Brother, you know about, what do you know about that pension life? But
I mean, we're definitely doing that. Like, we're not stupid.
Yeah. But it's refreshing because you have this ability to make, like, kind of early stage fuck you money. You do, like, that's the truth. Like, you've a really successful agency.
Which just means a lot of money for anyone who doesn't know what that term means.
And so you have this you know, opportunity to just start taking and being greedy. And so how do you, like, keep reeling it in? How do you make it about the work rather than about the end goal, you know?
Yeah, I mean, early on, I bought a Rolex, right? Because I thought I loved that.
Did you meet Nico?
Yeah, I know him.
Is that how you bought the Rolex?
Yeah.
My first ever copywriting client was Pride and Pinion.
Seriously?
Yeah.
We did a lot of work with them.
Love
We have
that.
a deal going through with them right now, like, with Nico.
They're doing class.
A big, cool deal. But again, like, that deal is so stressful. Like, I was up last night just sending WhatsApps, and Rebecca's like, relax. Like, I was trying to read my book and I couldn't even get a page. I kept picking up my phone every time it vibrated. I'm trying to get this thing done, and it's just such a stress. But yeah, like, what even is the question I'm trying to answer here?
I'm going to jump in because I also want a wee bit of free therapy, if that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a point in my business, right, where I'm literally submitting a novel in 2 weeks' time that I've been working on for years.
By the way, I have your first book still.
Do you really?
In my house, signed by you.
Mad.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been working on it for years, and I've been running the business, and I've been going to uni and doing it as part of a PhD program and all this nonsense. But I'm a solo entrepreneur. All the money I've made outside of all the profit that I've made has just been free for me to do whatever I want with it. Now, it hasn't been that much to this date, but it's good. We're growing, we're building. I can provide for my family. I can do something that I love, and I'm proud of that. I am now at the crossroads where I want to build a team, and I want to bring people on. He's putting his arms up in the corner. And it's really interesting because I'm at that point that you're talking about where it's like, I'm now about to be responsible for people, and that scares me.
Yeah.
It's the scariest thing.
Well, do you want some advice on that?
I think I just wanted to air how I feel.
It's okay, mate.
Yeah, can somebody hug me?
I mean, definitely, like, you need to build a team. You need to start putting people who are better than you in positions where they can help the business excel, so you can take a step back and you can go and bring in those bigger guests, and you can go focus on what you do best.
Here's the question, right? In the E-Myth Revisited, great book. It's a book I recommend anyone who's interested in business to read.
Who's it? Michael Gerber?
Michael Gerber, exactly. He was a hilarious hat on the back cover. He's a geezer. He talks about there's technicians, so the people who actually do the work, managers, the people who manage the people doing the work, and the entrepreneurs, the people who go and actually, you know, win business, build vision, lead, blah, 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 blah. You started off as a technician.
Yeah.
So you're shooting video, let's say, and then you jump from a manager where now you've got videographers working under you. And then now you're in that space where actually you're more of an entrepreneur. Talk to me about those transitions. Were they easy for you? Were they hard? What was harder for you, to go from a technician to a manager, or to go from a manager to an entrepreneur? Talk to me a wee bit about the transition.
Okay, manager to entrepreneur is definitely harder.
Right.
But going from technician to manager, so the way we structured was, I should probably give this is a good time for a really quick bit of context.
Bro, pitch your business. Tell us what it is.
We did, so I had an events company first, and We were doing all the uni parties, after parties, pre-formals, all that, right? And we're doing really well, always full, because we went to a direct niche, found the exact group of people, and got them all into one place. And then what we did was we shot videos of these parties, and they were wild, like really fun. They looked like a great time, pushing them out all over social, Snapchat, Insta.
Do you hear that language? They looked like a great time.
Marketing.
Yeah.
And it was, right? So then the bars, the venues were saying, how did you feel a Thursday, right? So, we just made social media videos and plastered everywhere, and they all got tickets to the next event. Sweet, can you do that for us? Yeah, no problem. So then I was in the business of slinging videos at 300 quid, so I'm a technician now, right? I got rid of the events company because I didn't like nightlife. So now I'm just slinging videos, and then I realized that they don't know how to use the video as part of their strategy. So now I'm offering a little bit more value. I'm like, okay, this is how you do social. Post this like 10 times. Doesn't matter if people have seen it before. Some people haven't. Okay, now you need to hit the boost button, right? Before Facebook ads, or before I knew about them. And then I realized, okay, there's a skill to learn here in Facebook ads. So I learned that, but what I actually did was got my brother to take that course as well. So now there's two of us, right? I'm shooting, he's doing a bit of editing, and he's helping manage the Facebook ads. This is where I started to transition into manager, and I also hired Jack Hanna at the exact same time, or shortly after. This was when just as pre-pandemic kind of thing. So then Jack Hanna's doing the videos. Jack Kennedy, my brother, is doing the, let's say, fulfillment. And I'm kind of stepping back and going, okay, those guys are doing that. Where's the next opportunity? What's the next business? And that's kind of how I naturally became the manager. So that was easy. Manager to entrepreneur is harder because you have to build a management team.
Right. So you effectively are relinquishing having your hands in the pie.
Yeah.
See, that's a bit that freaks me out.
That's where I'm at personally right now.
Really? Jumping from manager to entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You have to do it slowly, in my opinion, because shit's going to break, but manage what breaks. So this is where your SOPs become so important. And I'm like...
Standard operating procedures.
Yeah. So what's the first one we built? Okay, this is how we edit a video. I created a very clear SOP for, Jack Hanna. This is how you go to a job. This is how you take 15 minutes to talk to them before you even open your boot and get your tripod out. There's a 15-minute slot to build rapport. Okay, now we're scouting the area. Now we're doing this. Now we're doing that. Technical. Then you bring it back. You put it on your hard drive. That is the SOP. You fail to do that, you're failing at your job. So what's the
Yeah, where do we go wrong?
Yeah, and then you build those out across the board, and we're still building them. We're always going to be building those. But then at each piece, I really don't know what's happening in the office today. I don't know what they're working on.
Dude, we're looking at a real entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I don't know what products have landed. So we do a lot of product shoots. And I don't know even some of the jobs that are even coming in. That's where we're at. But it's always piece by piece. And you just do the first thing so you can free up more time. Then the next one, free up more time. And only recently now if we've hired a sales closer. So where I was completely focused on sales, business development, we now have a closer. And everything is done automation. We have a setter, a closer, and I only have to close deals. Jack Kennedy onboards them all. The other guys fulfill them all. Now I'm just looking for those bigger opportunities. And that's kind of where we're at. So definitely manager to entrepreneur is hard and it takes ages. There's no way you're doing that quickly.
Yeah.
And then to be a really good entrepreneur, from what I've heard, is your role is literally... obviously bringing in those visions, but then guiding the team. It's just leadership, isn't it?
For sure. I think for people listening in that business sphere, that startup life still so raw for all of us actually. And to add more context to that is, see, from going from step 1 to 2, that could happen in the space of 3 years, right? And it's actually it's very easy for PK to sit and tell that, because he's not able to give you true context every single day of making mistakes, getting it wrong, showing up, failing. It's only in having really refined, polished SOPs from the mistakes you made. That's how you got there, if that makes sense. But that, I think, the important thing is it's time, and it's being able to recognize as a leader, or the initial mind that was kind of creating everything. It's the one thing I've noticed is recognizing when it's time to move on. And especially if you're early stage, or you're like, it's maybe your first 1 or 2 projects and you've a lot of ownership and sweat equity and investment in it, like, you're going to struggle to separate, because I definitely know I did. I think that's the difference between you and I, PK, and that you're like, no, this is an essential part. Whereas maybe part of my ego, like I needed that control and I needed that influence and I needed to know, but it was just through my own insecurities. But I think like it's really important to add context to that, for sure.
Yeah. Also, is there a place where I can look up the stuff, like what you were saying about the whole business thing? Is there any place that I can go, like maybe on YouTube, maybe a website and stuff, that I can go to learn more about this kind of stuff?
Yeah, like all of our socials, Lifelike Media, socials on Instagram and YouTube. Like, we're posting a lot of content. You know, we're getting some stories here, and some people think our stories, like, I tell a story and someone goes, that's actually bullshit. There's no way that happened. And then I go, well, it's actually fully documented on YouTube. So
love that, man.
It's kind of
so
funny.
Good. I love like that you included in the videographer shoot SOP those 15 minutes to build rapport with the client.
Yeah.
And this is something that I've only, like, this is why I'm talking to you about this, because it's only been the last 2 months that I've started to work with Rosca and other people and outsource some things and blah, blah, blah. And it's sitting down to do those operating procedures where you're like, oh my goodness, there's so much that I do intuitively or naturally that I wouldn't even think that it's part of the process. But actually, if you don't do those things, it can mess up the whole thing.
Yeah,
if you do it more than 3 times, you should record it and do it as an SOP. But do you want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
About that 15-minute rapport? So after, okay, I'll take it back quickly, but after my accident and I was getting a lot of dental work done, spent a lot of time in a dental chair with this guy at Blue Sky, right? So we became kind of close. He really understood what was going on, and we were building a lot of rapport in that chair. I ended up then pitching him. He actually invited me into his home. I wore a shirt. I put a presentation on his big, massive screen, and I pitched him about some marketing, and we ended up working with him. Fast forward a little bit of time, I ended up working with one of their dentists who was part-time dentist, part-time aesthetics clinic, and then he then grew his aesthetics clinic to be full-time for 4 different locations from working with us. One of his clients, we were doing a testimonial, was a manager at Bassett's.
Right.
And again, building rapport with her just on the shoot. She then brought us into Bassett's. Okay, so first of all, the aesthetics clinic has been with us 3.5 years, paying us a retainer every single month, never missed a payment. Bassett's, we used to give the big jobs consistently. Then they go, why don't we just put you on a retainer? Because we were always going to be able to fill it. Okay, been a retainer since, 2000, like before I went to Marbella.
Yeah.
Okay, from that, their MD moved to another country or another company, brought us with him. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Absolutely.
That's all just from having the crack, having the rapport, being an authentic person on shoots, and they want us to do that, with someone else.
And this is back to what you're saying about, well, I would even add in, like, being from Northern Ireland, you've got a real amazing ability to have a genuine connection with people.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's something that's our superpower, right? Northern Ireland isn't known for a lot of things. The island of Ireland, I should even say. Irish people know how to connect with people.
And I think it's like, from a business sense as well, like people, yes, they'll buy your product and yes, they'll maybe see some social proof, but if they like you, you're 20 million times more likely to do what. People, right? That's it. People buy into people. But the point I'm making is if you don't create the space to build rapport and to have a conversation, like I think it's a genius move, because like I would do the same in most of our exec meetings. I'll set it up, 10-minute shite talk before, and I will literally say, now these are people with like 20 years of game, and I'm like, let's have a shite talk, we'll just get up to it the weekend. And I feel a bit rough as toast saying it to them. But,
rough as toast.
But I know what it's doing. There's just no point in going into the depths of it. Just like you totally understand what that 15 minutes creates, makes them more comfortable. They're easier to film. Like, it means that Jack's a bit more, he's okay if he knows how to talk to him, knows him by name. He's okay with being like, move to the right, move to the left, stand up, be louder.
100%.
And it's all those wee many things over years' experience that, you'll just create a wee tiny SOP, talk to them for 15 minutes. You don't need to tell Jack, during the last 7 years of business, all these wee things that you've learned to create that 15 minutes. You're just like, do it. And that's just experience as well.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the stuff that we do now is product based. So the brand owner will send the product to our studio. So we have like no borders. So we're dealing with people in Canada, down south, UK, Europe, whatever. So it's kind of hard to do that. But what we have done now is building a visions call, we call it. So after you fill in your form, this is all SOP'd again. They fill in their discovery form. Once they submit, it brings them up a link. Okay, now book in your visions call. And that goes into Jack and Jack's calendar. And they have to have that Zoom together to feel each other out, feel the product. And that's great. And then even before that, in the sales messaging, like in my sales call, there's that start where it doesn't even feel like a sales call. We're opening up. How's your day? Yeah, busy. Busy. Feeling good though. Like, love what we do. Where are you calling from? Oh yeah, flip. I was down there recently. Blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, and I go, okay, actually, do you know what? Let me just explain really quickly how this call usually works. And it's programmed, but it sounds like, oh yeah, we were just having the chat, but we're actually here for a reason.
Yeah.
And then it's pre-programmed, and this is the framework, and then I set the full frame for the call. I said, does that sound fair? Yeah, that sounds like a good call structure. Let's do it. And that's how, do you see? Like,
absolutely,
that's structured. That has to be like that. And now the sales girl, she has that structure. She has to record her calls. They have to go into the Google Drive. Once a week, I'm checking every couple of calls. So that's, like you said, we've built the space to have those. And whatever comes in that space can be anything. Yeah. It's fun. But
it's like comedians, though. Like comedians will spend 7 years refining a joke. And part of the delivery is making it seem like they just came up with it on the spot.
Yeah.
It's like artificially spontaneous looking creativity. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just wanted to call something out and just say that it's your personal rapport with somebody that will get your foot into the door, but it's the quality of your work that means that they're still on retainer 3 years later. So I also just want to call that out. It's like, actually, it's because you also have over-delivered on your promise.
Damn good.
I talk about that as well to the younger guys, and I did a recent podcast, like in the agency space. People will put in so much effort to land a client. They'll send thousands of emails and DMs and cold calls to get that client, to pay them that first month. And then they'll not even put in 10% of that effort to fulfill.
Yeah.
And that's how people are losing in this game. Whereas if you put in then 150% of what you did to get them to deliver, you're going to keep them, and they're going to refer, and you can ascend them then, you know.
Retention's growth, bro.
Yeah.
Retention and ascension.
And I think because of the barrier to entry in your game as well being so low, right now you got an iPhone 13 and a laptop, you can run a marketing agency.
100%. And that's it. That's our problem.
That's it. You know, you're having to shine, you know, just as bright as all these other guys, but like you're actually doing the work.
Yeah, and we do mess up as well. That's the thing. People, it's not all shiny. Like, we make mistakes. We fuck up. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we fail. But, like, who's pretending that everyone's got 100% record? Because the ones that are saying that and throwing their case studies out, like, we never lose, like, that's a problem with the industry as well. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's kind of owning those L's and doing whatever you can for the client to make it, you know, more palatable.
Good. Stories. You lead us. Where do you want to go? Let's do a few stories and then we'll wrap.
I love the Pablo Escobar story. I think it's interesting.
So there's a very PG version and a
Well, I mean,
probably
go PG, and then we'll see what Matt's saying. I like listening to it.
I'll be the one who's editing this in the end of the day. So
he's young. Be careful with his ears. No, I'm only joking.
Nah, I'm open to any of this.
I'm intrigued.
Once
Let's
again,
go.
I want to have the full experience. So
as long as you're comfortable, we're happy.
No, the only thing I'm thinking, right, is I have told this story a few times before, and it is on YouTube. Is this a good space to tell a different story? I can tell you it's a full one off air, like.
Tell us a different story. That's what I mean.
Story, yeah.
You lead this bit. I'm happy.
Oh my goodness. I feel on the spot.
Right.
Like,
So
I mean, let's say
here's what we have. Right. We've got Tommy Fury. You've got Floyd. You've got Tate brothers. You've got Sidemen. You've got KSI. You've got Jake Paul. It could be one of the companies you've worked with.
Yeah. Or
what's worthwhile based on what we've shared already?
I mean, I feel like the Tommy Fury one is good. It's in terms of a moment and a highlight.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty special because, again, like talking about going traveling and like bucket lists, like I was a bucket list guy, but then chasing my dreams and like doing all this work, I've ended up with experiences that I would never have put on my bucket list in my wildest dreams because you're like, that's too far-fetched.
Yeah.
Whereas fast forward, just doing one step in front of the other, doing your job, you know, over-delivering, building in that rapport, it's put me in this position where actually ended up working with Tommy, and the story behind it is we were doing the marketing, the fights, the crossover boxing. And, you know, to get to the Tommy one, which was actually Floyd headlighting, we'd already did 4 before that. Did a good job, got the opportunity to throw our hat in the ring and actually promote the Floyd Mayweather fight. So we got that. We were doing their content and we were doing their ads. And then part of the deal was we got to fly over to Dubai with 2 of our team and be there for fight week. And originally my role was going to be vlogging Floyd Mayweather. And I actually took a couple of boxing classes before under the potential like reality that I might get to like do some pads for him or something. I kind of seeing that in my mind. I was like, oh, I'll do some pads, but how do you hold pads? So I was like, okay, I'm really excited to film with Floyd. First day, Floyd is the most standoff guy. He sits in his car for 2 hours. You know, he's late. He doesn't want to talk to anyone. You know, okay. I realized there wasn't really that opportunity to get in with Floyd or to speak to Floyd or even, I was just, you know, holding the camera up. But then contrary, it was like, there's Tommy. So put one of our junior guys on Floyd and I shot Tommy.
What a move.
So Tommy was more open, more receptive in the moments that I had with him, which are few and far between. I was able to just like be authentic and build some rapport and chat to him about his, you know, weight cutting, his training, all that. And was then able to do the exact same thing with his manager. His manager had a really nice watch on, quite a rare watch. I knew about it, so I asked him about that. Just these little moments of rapport building that then I decided I would just cut them a quick reel outside of like the work we were doing. I cut them a quick reel, sent it over. I was like, here, get this on your TikTok. Oh, we don't have a TikTok. Okay, let's get you a TikTok. Here's 3
Game
videos
over.
now. There's 3 videos. Get them on your TikTok. Boom. TikTok blows up really quickly. Now they're starting to see our value here. Then what happens is I get a message. Do you want to come to Tommy's midnight training in his villa? We're going to do like acclimatization for the fight, which is going to be at midnight. It's like, yeah, perfect. Wee bit at midnight, right? How do you kill time? Went to Top Golf. Had a few beers with the lads, so I was feeling a wee bit, you know, open. That's sweet. Make my way around to the Palm, get into the villa. I'm a wee bit loose, a few beers deep. Music's blaring. Tommy's getting in the zone. The vibes are like ridiculous, you know. Big John Fury's there. I get to meet him. He's a legend, very welcoming. The security guards all welcoming, and you know, they've welcomed me into this villa. That's their safe space on fight week, and I'm there, and I'm recording. You know, I'm putting the GoPro on their chest. Like, here's cool angles. Let's try this. Having the crack. You know, then the training ends. They're all sitting down. He's like trying to come up with songs. You know, what song's going to be my walkout music? He's like, oh, I really like Rihanna. He's shitting. I was like, oh, I know a Clash Rihanna track. I was like, you'll play this one. He's like, oh, yeah, that's a really good one. We're passing back and forth ideas. I'm just in this space. And that's where I'm like, this energy, these people, where I am, like, I am so blessed for this. I could never have set that as some kind of goal or target because it's too far-fetched. And then, okay, we're going to go on. We've got a radio show, 6 a.m. in the morning. Will you come with us? Yep, sweet. So then I'm at the radio station. We're on with Chris Fade. He's like the biggest radio producer or radio DJ. We're shooting all that. Again, just these little moments of time to build rapport. You know, that continues through the week. Then it's fight week. Then after his fight, like, I'm down the tunnel with them into the changing room. Molly May's there, you know, chatting to her. She's fully pregnant. She's grabbed my phone, sending a message to my girlfriend, Rebecca. And then I just look back at the end of the week. I have a video of me walking out of that stadium being like, can't explain how this has just gone. Like, we didn't ask for any of this, but by just doing those wee micro things well and being, you know, building that rapport, being authentic, we've just opened all of these doors. And they ended up sending us a signed glove from that week, which we have framed up in the office now. And then, you know, we look back at that and you look at that, you see the jerseys from working with Kane and Foden, you look at those opportunities, you think, right, we're blessed. Let's just keep on this path.
And the thing that I just think is so impressive is that you yourself, as the business owner, as the entrepreneur, turned down the opportunity to film one of the most successful. He's the highest paying boxer in history, isn't he?
Pound for pound, most successful, yeah.
And you, in that moment, like, you didn't have 2 weeks to think about this. You made a call and it was the right call. That for me is the thing that I think is incredible.
Maximizing the opportunity at hand, I think, that's the number one thing is your experience, your game, understanding, right, listen, this might feed my ego standing beside Floyd Mayweather. It might, if I get a photo near him, this might be really good. But you knew there and then, right, put one of the juniors on him. They can get exactly what I'll be able to get. And then I'll go down this rabbit hole and just see if if something can come about from it. But it was just this one line, right, on our page: Tommy Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Tate brothers, Simon, KSI, Jake Paul, all under one campaign, one single campaign. And we were talking about defining moments earlier. And for me, like, there's just a surreal energy that, like, I know you, like, you're my friend, and you were, getting content for all these guys. Like, how surreal was that?
Yeah, it was awesome.
The guy from Money Ray.
Yeah.
Big old Money Ray.
Come on.
Not Hollywood.
It was like it was the same, like, because before we did that, we did Harry Kane, and that was the first real big name for work. So I was like, felt that energy, and me and Jack, my brother, started joking about it. See, on that week, with all those names, every corner we turned or every hour that passed, the names just kept getting bigger, and we're like, where are we? What are we doing? Like, but we weren't just like, guests in the background. Like, we were
leading
a big part of that.
Yeah.
One, like, I tell this story. One of the days I was in the back of the Rolls Royce, and the guy who was driving it, his registration plate is 50, and he had the key to the city, like, and I was just sitting in the back, these two billionaires, and I'm just like, recording. Let's see what's going on. And that's like, I'm just sitting there like sending my family a group chat. I was like, look where I am. What's going on? This is a bit surreal. And then it's like, okay, yeah, name after name. We're like, whoa, this is too much to take. It's almost like overstimulating.
Yeah.
Like, let me get back to bleeding Belfast, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great. I've got a question. Roscoe is a closing question for you. He's our closer now. He closes these.
Do you want to come work for us? We need a closer, like.
Let's go. Let's go too, right? If you take anyone from Northern Ireland, dead or alive, out for a pint, who would you take? Where would you take them, and why?
Anyone from Northern Ireland? It's a really good question.
I like whenever you hear people say Northern Ireland, and it sounds like Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland.
I'm going in a lot of different directions here. I'm going like on the entrepreneurial side.
Make it really about you, mate. It's like if you go for after 9 p.m, you just shut off and you don't want to talk business. Who's that person? Or
see, I don't shut off. That's another problem.
Yeah,
I want to talk business.
I know.
You know your man, Jobbox Jerry. I think you spoke to him as well. He seems like a super interesting guy to speak to.
Crazy charisma.
He is incredible.
Yeah.
Crazy
we
charisma.
We just signed a series with them, and he's going to co-host.
Class.
And it's interviewing like all the big hospitality legends, and I just think Jerry's energy, I just think, is through the roof.
Yeah.
Like, I love spending time with him. And
well, now you've definitely sold me. So Jobbox Jerry, like,
Jobbox
if you want a pint, it's on me.
Great guy.
Also,
great guy.
Paul, can you just move
happen.
back a little bit because you're kind of in frame. Sorry for interrupting again here.
Paul or me?
Paul.
Okay.
Okay, Jobbox Jerry. Look, happy to make that connection.
I'll be free whenever your next little meeting is.
Yeah. You're just like,
the systems are in place.
Do you want to produce that? I'll give you my Notion document. You can sit in the producer chair. What's gut reaction, right? So you're never going to get the proper answer to this question, but I just like to see kind of what comes up. What's the kindest thing someone's ever done for you?
I don't know. So probably loads of things, but it's such a hard question on the spot.
Even to reframe it, what's the kindest thing someone's done for you recently?
Ooh.
I mean, the thing is, we're getting so much help as we move into our apartment from family and friends. Like,
yeah,
even the smallest thing, like my neighbour popped over to lend me his screwdriver set. I don't have a toolkit. And it's like, there's so many moments where people have been helping us recently. So, like, how could I even pick one that's more
man, I love the screwdriver
that outweighs the others.
Yeah, he
said, and I've still got it because I don't have my own tools yet. So I'm just milking all his tools.
Awesome. Roscoe, do it, mate.
Hit him.
Close it.
Hit him.
So, okay, let's get this.
He's been practicing in front of the mirror like Eminem.
Yeah, just constantly over and over again. That's how I spent my morning.
Drinking latte.
His affirmations are not like you'd think they are.
But yeah, okay.
Hit me.
Yeah. I'm not a boxer, so I don't know about that. But yeah, if you could give advice to an 18-year-old or younger version of yourself, what kind of advice would you give? So, like, if you're right in front of them, you went in it, like, this whole studio turned into a time machine.
Oh, he's killing it.
He's killing it.
He's killing it.
He's
And
done
you went
this.
back in time to your younger self, or you were in front of an audience of a bunch of people who don't know what to do properly with their life, and they want some kind of advice, like what I would like for advice and stuff like that. What would you say?
Okay, great question. So if I was going into the time machine and speaking to myself, I would just be like, keep going, trust the process. But if I was speaking to younger people who are unsure of what they want to do, the first key piece of advice is, if you don't know what you want to do, go traveling. And there is no excuse for not going. Money isn't an excuse. You go and get a job. I worked in Scalini serving plates. So you get that job, you save, you get, dedicated, and then you get a plane ticket, and then you get a sales job, and that will change your whole entire life. I don't think there is one thing more valuable to a young person than that. So that's what I would say. And then this sort of more, let's say, micro detailed to more specific people would be to start building some skills inside the digital world, because that's where the world is, and that's where you can start making some serious leverage. It doesn't really matter what it is. If, again, speaking to you directly, is it web design, lead generation, logo creation, setting, Facebook ads, all of those things don't matter. Just learn one of them, sell it to one kind of person, one avatar, through one channel. So, like, you sell logos to restaurants via Instagram, and that's all you do and that will get you to 10K a month, guaranteed.
Bro, he just literally
brilliant.
just shared the keys to the universe to
Nine-
Roscoe right
9 years
Yeah,
worth of
man.
game. Roscoe's got to come in. He's like,
I've lost Roscoe.
he's
He's
like-
gonna quit now.
I'm
he's
gonna.
like, Thompson, your media strategy sucks. I've been working with PK now this past 7 days.
You know what I'm gonna do now? I'm gonna clip this in the editing suite. I'm gonna send it to so many of my friends. I'm gonna clip this and send.
I thought you were gonna say that's gonna be your new morning affirmation. It's just that clip. on
Yeah.
repeat
I'm gonna watch this
over
clip
and
every
over.
single morning. My morning goes with a cold shower, some coffee, some breakfast, and just this video playing on loop.
But do it like this, but for real. Okay, that's good banter. But okay, what's your vehicle? Best of Belfast. What skill do I need to learn that's going to take it to the next level? So that's going to be podcast specific. So maybe it is digital marketing. Maybe it is like Spotify arbitrage. How can I get this podcast requested on that app? Maybe it's, whatever the metrics are. Maybe I need this much listen. Maybe at the end of every episode you do this, listen, or at the start. This podcast is free, okay? And we can't guarantee that you're going to hit like on this, but we just trust that you do, because if you like consuming our content, if you've listened to just one episode, okay, the payment is hitting like on it or subscribing to our YouTube. And, you would say this, like, our podcast isn't free. Unlike all these other ones, ours is not free. It costs.
There's a fee.
The fee is to subscribe, and I can never test, I can never check, we'll never know, so we're just taking your word for it.
Yeah.
Do you want to be the one that didn't subscribe because everyone else is? We see the numbers. Are you the one that didn't pay the fee to listen to the content?
Your
and then,
fee is your time.
you know what I mean?
Spending time.
Love
So
that.
figure it out, and just get real micro with it.
I think
Thank you
that
so
was
much. That was some really good information.
really
right there.
good,
That was really good.
practical advice, actually.
Yeah.
Paul, mate, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Welcome, thanks for having me. It's
It's
a
been
really easy
brilliant.
conversation. I wasn't
Mate,
nervous
really
at all.
enjoyed it. I thought you killed it. I also just
smashed
have, I've got a 8 gig iPod Touch. I'm wondering if you would just fill it up some.
He's like,
What's your genre? Like,
he's like,
play it again,
What you
again.
got?
he's
We
like,
actually have something for you boys as well.
scan my QR code, my PayPal QR code, and I'll get it done for you, mate.
We talked a lot about books there.
Right.
Have either of you read The Go-Giver?
No.
Go givers sell more.
Gimme.
Oh,
Gimme.
come on.
Gimme.
Oh,
Can I have one?
PK.
Can I have one? Can I have one? Is there one of it?
Here, you can read this when I'm done with it.
Yo.
I didn't
Be
even
rude.
I didn't even know he was here,
rude,
but
Ross.
actually do have another one in the car. I actually do have another one in the car.
Let's go.
You definitely get one.
Let's
Have
go.
you read it?
I
No.
haven't, though.
Because you see, I was
Simple
only
lesson.
editor, so.
Right?
Yeah, it's just about giving and giving without,
Expecting in return.
expectation, but then also being prepared to receive. So
Awesome.
The
I really
law of
recommend-
value. There's laws. Oh shit.
He's a law guy. He
I
loves laws.
principles and laws, mate. That is honestly my
Thank you for being
thing.
generous with your time. Thank you for this book. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.
Peace.
PK, that was awesome.